I found this old, sun-stained index card tucked between some seed packets in my grandmother's gardening box. Faded ink, corners curled from decades of use, and in her handwriting were just 5 simple words. Grandma's weed recipe. It works. My cousins used to swear by it. They said she never needed expensive sprays, and her garden paths were always spotless, not a weed in sight. For years I nodded politely, never giving it much thought. But today I decided to put her 1970s wisdom to the test. No store-bought weed killers, no fancy gadgets, just her recipe, my garden, and a little patience. The first step on her card simply said, mix white vinegar, salt, and a splash of soap. No ratios, no measurements, just that. Now, modern recipes call for 1 gallon of vinegar, 1 cup of salt, and a tablespoon of dish soap, so I figured Grandma was onto the same idea. I poured everything into a big jug and swirled it around. As I did, I couldn't help but picture her at her kitchen sink, apron dusted with flour, humming while she worked. The vinegar is the muscle in this recipe. It dries out weeds by sucking the moisture right out of their leaves. The salt, that's the long-term punch, making the soil inhospitable for weeds to come back. And the soap, that's Grandma's clever touch. Soap breaks the surface tension of the vinegar, letting it cling to the weeds instead of sliding right off. 3 everyday ingredients, and suddenly I felt like I was holding a potion. When I stepped out into the garden, I had my doubts. Dandelions, crabgrass, and purslane were popping up like they paid rent. I poured the mixture into a spray bottle and gave the weeds a good soaking. Within minutes, I could almost smell the sharp vinegar working its way through the leaves. Grandma always said to do this on a sunny day, so the sun can seal the deal. So I waited. By late afternoon, the magic started. The leaves began to curl and crisp at the edges, shrinking like paper left near a flame. By the next morning, it was undeniable. The weeds were wilting, their green fading into a dull, lifeless brown. I crouched down to check the roots and couldn't believe it. 1 application and the weeds looked like they had lost the fight for good. But what really struck me wasn't just how well it worked. It was how simple it was. No chemicals, no risk to my soil, no worries about pets or kids running through the garden. Just vinegar, salt, and soap. It felt like unlocking a secret handshake passed down through generations. I tested it in a few different spots, between the cracks in my patio, along the fence line, and even in a patch of stubborn thistle that had been laughing at me all summer. Each time, Grandma's recipe delivered the knockout punch. The patio cracks cleared up like they'd been scrubbed, the fence line opened up, and even that thistle gave up the fight within a couple days. The best part, I realized this recipe wasn't just about killing weeds. It was about remembering that solutions don't always come in bottles with warning labels. Sometimes they come scribbled in your grandmother's handwriting, passed quietly through the years, waiting to be rediscovered. So would I call the results insane? Absolutely. I never thought 3 ingredients from my kitchen could clear weeds faster than store-bought sprays, but here we are. My garden paths look brand new, my raised beds are weed-free, and my soil feels safe and alive. Grandma knew what she was doing all along. If you've got a family recipe or trick tucked away in a shoebox, try it. Sometimes the old ways really are the best. And if you want me to test this recipe against other common weed killers in a side-by-side challenge, let me know in the comments. For now, I think Grandma just saved me a whole lot of backache and money, and gave me a story worth sharing. Gentle herb living.